Hi everybody, welcome to Oakkey's kitchen table. Today we are stuffing $860, so let's just make sure that I can count. 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600, 20, 40, 60, 80, 700, 750, 760, 70, 80, 90, 800, 8, 10, 20, 30, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. $860, and let's go. Some of my categories have been shifted around a little bit and added. I found that my personal spending seems to be covering all sorts of categories that I haven't allowed for, so I wanted to add those so that I actually get to spend on myself occasionally. Right, the rent, still $400. The home insurance is 10. I'm rushing because I can hear the toddler waking up, so any second there'll be a commotion. Transportation is still fully funded. Now my sinking funds essentials, things that I do have to pay, but I could adjust them week to week if it was a bad or a really good week. So my power bill. I did get my first power bill and my estimate was not quite right. I think I've been using the aircon a bit too much in this heat wave, 2 heat waves in Sydney. So I'm adding 40 instead of just 30 each week. And that will mean that when the bill actually becomes due, I will have exactly the amount I need. I've calculated, and I'm really pleased that I don't have to dig into and find hundreds from anywhere. So the water bill, again, it's only usage I pay for and it's direct from the landlord, but I'm adding 15 and that seems like it will probably be good. I did get a washing machine though, so I'm really excited and washing all the things at the moment. 95 in there. And if those rain clouds even look at me, I will not be happy. The phone bill, it's about $10 a week, but sometimes I use a bit too much data and I might go over and need to refresh it a bit early. So I want to have an extra 10 sat in the account for if I decide to binge on something on Netflix. Discretionary sinking funds, the things that will come up, but I can adjust how much I actually spend on them. So health and personal care, I'm adding 20. I did actually need to use it. I bought some vitamins during the week, so I spent $30 there. My clothing, I'm only adding 10 at the moment, but we will revisit that as winter sort of knocks on our door. Might need some winter clothing for me, and Miss 2 might need a couple of things. So for birthdays and gifts, which is going to include Christmas, I'm adding 20 at the moment. Might add more depending on how our budget looks as time goes on. So there's 90 in there at the moment. My home insurance 2026 bill, I want to pay it in full this time. I want to have the money sitting ready and waiting, unlike last year. So I'm adding 10 each week and it will be due in December and hopefully I've got enough. Then we have home maintenance. It's a category I didn't have before, and instead of spending my own personal spending, I want to actually have money set aside for if I need a new kettle or if I need a wooden spoon. The budgeting one, I just like buying shiny new things like that really cool highlighter that I just had to have. Okay. Then we have passports and travel. I hadn't budgeted for this, and there's a $400 expense coming up involving lots of official paperwork that I'm not very pleased about. So I have had to take $400 out of my long-term saving, and I've already spent 20 of it, so I have 380 left, and I want to add 10 each week so that's a buffer that I will have for next time. My discretionary spend, my food was $100, but I'm spending more than that. So I'm just upping it by $10 and hopefully I can stick to that. And if it becomes too difficult, I'll increase it again. Then we have my personal spending, which I'm keeping at $100. We don't really eat out, but it's nice to buy a frozen pizza and treat ourselves to a takeaway. Then I have the money I'm putting aside for long-term goals, which is to buy a car and eventually have a housing deposit. And that's just the everything else money. So 50, 70, 85 is being added this week. I will have a tracker for that eventually, something shiny so that I can get excited about reaching each thousand. And in the back is money that I don't actually have in my bank. That's $150 that I lent to my cousin Claire. So that's just to remind me that Claire owes me $150 in case I'm wondering why my bank account doesn't balance anymore. So that's all for me for today. Thank you very much for watching, and leave me an animal emoji in the comments. Your favorite animal if you can find it as an emoji. And I will see you next week. Bye-bye.